guys that draw the boxes because it helps. What should you be drawing? Oh, all right. Thanks for helping each other, but now I'm here, and let's go ahead and see how we did. We definitely had time to try for everyone to try on their own. Just once again, thank you for trying to help each other. Okay, I'll say it again. This is like the end of the quiz. And there are graphing problems at the beginning that we will review together in just a second. So, for those of you guys that like to draw the boxes because it helps, you should have drawn the box around the radicals because we're trying to get the radicals by themselves, right? So how did you get this guy by himself? Plus 8. Why? Because it's subtraction. That's how I always undo subtraction. If it was multiplication, I would have divided. If it was division, I would have multiplied. But it was subtraction, so I added. We end up with square root of q equals negative 2 plus 8? 6. Good. They're working against each other. The signs are opposite. Isaiah already said, all phones away, all airbuds out. Usually I'm okay, but not today. Here we go. The reason why we got the square root alone was because what do we need to do to both sides? Square it. What does a square do to a square root? It undoes the radical, and I end up with just 2. Q is equal to? 36. Not 12. You have to multiply. 6 times 6 is 36, and you're done?
Yeah.
Yes. Technically, could you check? Yes, but today's quiz will not have any extraneous solutions. You don't have to necessarily check unless you just want to make sure that you didn't make like a math mistake. Then you could plug in 36. The square root of 36 is 6, and 6 minus 8 is negative 2. Check. And you would know that you got it right. Now this one, there's addition, not multiplication, not division, not subtraction, but addition. How do I undo that? And the reason why I'm trying to subtract that 8 is I want that radical alone. Because as soon as I get that radical alone, what am I bringing in? You guys going to show your work on the quiz?
Yeah.
Please do, because if you make a mistake, if you show work, I can give you partial credit. What's left after you square that square root? B minus 7. And don't I just need to go ahead and add 7 to both sides to finish it off? B is equal to 43. Questions on these types of problems? Or if you guys were looking at the worksheet in those first few letters, like A through H or A through I, are there any ones that look harder that you want us to try real quick? Okay, the goal is to get the square root alone so you can square the square root, square the radical, get rid of it, and then finish. Now, hold on. I said this is like the end of the quiz, right? So what's the beginning of the quiz look like? If I were you, I would turn your worksheet to the back because there's a lot of blank space back there in order to try this problem. Now, the worksheet doesn't need graphs. I know, but the quiz does. It goes back to section 10.1, the beginning of the week. So some of you are like, that table thing. Now, on the quiz, I'll just give you a warning. Once again, I gave you a table that was a little bit too big, so you don't have to plug in everything. You don't have to plug in everything. I would say 4 is enough. I would say 4 is enough. Now, there is going to be a weird little typo on the quiz. If I have time, I'll try to go back and fix it all, but I'll probably just get you guys the quiz fast. There's a little baby typo in that I meant to draw a little square root around that guy. You see him? I meant to draw a little square root around this guy. Boop. But we'll talk about that in a second because that's actually the very last thing that you want to do for this problem. Okay, let me go ahead and give you an equation for us to ponder and to think about. What if I was to give you something like y is equal to, let's do something kind of small, like negative 2 square root of x plus, let's do x minus 4. I'm not exactly sure if this will fall off the graph. Let's just do x minus 1. Okay. So negative 2 times the square root of x minus 1. Negative 2 times the square root of x minus 1. Now, even though I said this comparing blank is the very, very, very last thing for you guys to fill in, it actually is going to be helpful for you to be able to compare earlier. And if you guys remember, on one of your worksheets, there was this table that gave you all the different words or all the different types of comparisons to think about when you're looking at graphs. Let's go back there for just 1 second. I'm actually going to go ahead and copy this page and try to get it right next to this problem that we have. Oops, let's undo that. I want to copy it. There we go. Let me come down to the problem that we're trying to do, which is this guy right here. Okay. So I want you guys to look at that problem that you just wrote down, this function that has the -2 times the square root of x minus 1. For those of you guys that are up at the front, it might be a little easier for you guys to see it in the back, but I want you to be able to look at the equation as you look over here at this table. I'm actually going to have this big and on the screen during the quiz, just in case it helps. Just in case it helps. As I said, for the test, you guys could actually make a little formula card with these words on it. There are actually 3 different changes going on in this function. There are actually 3 different changes going on in this function. There's a negative, which does something. There's a 2 times, which does something. And there's a -1 that does something. So I'm curious if you guys could look at this table and pick out how this function has changed. Do you see any of these that show a negative in the very, very front of the square root? Which one? Not the negative.
Vertical translation.
Nope. A negative in the very, very front of the radical. Yeah, it's a reflection. And which type of reflection?
Flip
over the x-axis. So we're going to put that in our comparison blank in just a second. It's going to flip over the x-axis. There's a negative in front of the one you just wrote down, right? What else is in front of the radical or outside the radical? There's a negative and also a no, outside the radical.
A number.
A number. Which number? 2. Okay. Do you see anything with a multiplication, a number outside the radical? Okay. Is it a shrink? Is it a little number or is it a stretch? Yeah, it's a whole number, so it's going to be a vertical stretch by 2, not 4, but 2. However, what's going on inside the radical?
X minus 1.
Yeah, and doesn't x minus 1 look kind of like this one?
Yeah.
So can't I say it's going to shift this guy to the right? Not 2, 1. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys that table because I want us to go ahead and use that comparison to make our table. Because if you realize, okay, we're going to talk about the other ones, but if you realize that there has been a shift to the right, 1. When I move to the right, what I'm doing is moving my x's. Do you guys remember how that little square root of x, how his table looks? What are those nice x's for the basic parent function that we love to throw in a table? 0, 1, 4, and 9. Those are the ones that we want to use. But what just happened as soon as they put the -1 up here? Okay, wait, there is a -1, but which way are we shifting? The other way. So it's always the opposite. So I take my 0 and I say, I'm going to add 1. I take my 1, I'm going to add 1. I take my 4, I'm going to add 1. And I take my 9, and I'm going to add 1. My new x's are going to be 0, oops, that's 2, 5, and 10. I'm going to take these nice guys and I'm going to say, nope, I'm opposite. Opposite what you think. Adding 1, adding 1, adding 1, adding 1. That's how I get my x's. Once you have your x's, which was found by I'm shifting to the right, I'm adding, doing the opposite to the x's. I'm adding 1 to the x's. If it was a -10, what would you be adding to all those x's? 10. What if it was x plus 3? What would you be doing to all those x's? Subtracting 3. It's always the opposite. It's always the opposite. Angela's a little confused. Let me show you. If it was x plus 3, you would have taken each of those and you would have done -3. 0 minus 3, 1 minus 3, 4 minus 3, 9 minus 3. You always do the opposite. You always do the opposite. And the nice thing is, the wording, which is going to be on the table in the screen, kind of helps you because remember, anybody underneath, it's always backwards what you think. Going that way, you're adding. Okay, but once we have x's, guys, what do we do? Plug it in, plug it in. So we're going to plug in first. Who minus 1? Oh, wait, what's 0 plus 1? Oh, my goodness, I can't even add. You guys see that and just kind of go with the flow?
Yeah.
0 plus 1 is 1. Yikes. If you did it right, when you plug in what each of these numbers are, you should get really nice square roots. Because what's the square root of, underneath. What's the square root of 0?
0.
What's 0 times anything?
0.
Oh, that's easy. When I go to plug in the next guy, which is 2, what's 2 minus 1?
1.
What's the square root of 1?
1.
What's 1 times negative 2?
2.
Negative 2. Careful. What's 1 times negative 2? Negative 2. If I go plug in my next guy, which is going to be 5, 5 minus 1, if you did it right, it should be that nice square root of 4, which is just negative 2 times 2, which is negative 4. And 10 minus 1 is that nice square root, which is 9. Square root of 9 is 3. So negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. And I come over here to my graph and I say, let's graph those x's and those y's.
Isn't it 10 minus 1?
Yes, 10 minus 1.
Oh, thank you. I was jumping ahead in my head and I was thinking that's going to be 9. Yeah, but 10 minus 1, good, is 9. Square root of 9 is 3. Wow, I wrote that weird, huh? So I have 1, 0, which is right there. I have 2, negative 2, which is right there. I have 5, negative 4, which is right there. And if I needed to keep going, 10 would be down here at negative 6, and I could go ahead and swoop down. So now, guys, we are so close, because we've talked about how this was a flip, according to the other page, a flip over the x-axis, and it was a vertical stretch by 2. We've already done this last blank, but domain and range. I need you guys to think about an x and think about a y. What is this point that's at the very, very tip? Not the going forever part, but the other side. What was this point that's at the very, very tip of this radical function? 1, comma, 0. I know I'm comparing the x's to 1 and the y's to 0. I can use whatever is at the very, very tip, and I can always say, there's my x, there's my y. I just need to figure out, you just need to figure out, is it greater than or equal to or less than? Is it greater than or equal to or less than? Where are the x's? Aren't they these guys? So are the x's going low or high? Yeah, the x's are going higher. So to the right is up or greater. To the left is down or lower. Wait, do you guys want to see a trick?
Yes.
The x's are this way, yeah?
Yes.
Which way is the arrow pointing?
That way.
Check it. Boop. What would be happening if the arrow was pointing this way? It'd be a less than. Whatever way the arrow is pointing on x's will be the same thing as the inequality. Whatever the way the arrow is pointing for the x's will be the same thing as a, I'm going right, sweet, right. If I was going left, sweet, left, it'd be going the other way. The y's, in a way they're easier, in a way they're harder. You just have to ask yourself, if you were hiking this, are you going downhill or are you going uphill? What is this? Downhill. If it's downhill, I'm going down. It's going to be low. It's going to be lower, less than. I'm going lower, I'm going less than. Yeah.
Do you have to have like all
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
However many is in your equation. Some equations just have like one thing, like a shift up or a shift down or a shift left. This one just happened to have a lot of them. Just put as many as you see. Put as many as you see. So, quick reminder, if you're going down, the y's are less. If you're going up, the y's are higher. If you're going to the right, make the x arrow point that way. If you're going to the left, make the x arrow point that way. All right, let's go ahead and, oops. Oh, you have to look at your table. So, if you check it, Adrian is wondering how I knew it was a vertical stretch. Look at this 2 times, because that's the guy that I'm putting here, right? The 2 times, and then this table, remember, it's going to be on the screen for you, no stressing of like memorizing. Where is there a number multiplied on the outside of the radical? Here. Is it a little like 1 over number, or is it like a whole number? It's a whole number, so it's a stretch. What kind of stretch? A vertical stretch. By 4. Well, ours was by 2, because 2 was enough. Just get to match it up with what you see. Just get to match it up with what you see. All right, make sure you have a calculator. If you want a calculator, go ahead and clear your worksheet off your desk and turn your worksheet upside down. Well, right side up, meaning have it facing this way under your desk with like a notebook or a binder on top, because we did just do some hints on it. I want it covered. Yeah. All right, go ahead and put it under your desk. Inside a binder, inside a notebook. I'm going to take this off before we start the quiz, but I'm letting it stay up there for a little bit longer. Go ahead and grab out a blank piece of paper for a cover sheet. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, and I should just read. If there was a minus, then just All right, let's see your desk really quickly. Do you have a cover sheet?
I have one. I have one.
Armando, cover sheet.
Yeah.
There we go. Diana, take that worksheet, put it away and underneath. Like in a book or in a binder. What month? All right. Perfect. Thank you. All right, kiddos. I am putting up on the screen, just like I said I would, these comparison words. Let me see if I can make them kind of as big as possible. You can look up here. You can use it at any point during the quiz. But otherwise, there's some work to be shown. There's some answers to fill in. Do the best you can. Okay? The one weird typo maybe isn't that big a deal. The one weird typo when you guys are on the quiz, remember, there should have been a square root around that X when you get to the comparison word. So if you want, you can put that square root, or just not stress about it and just be like, she wants us to compare, I'll compare. As soon as you get it, name on it. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's been a few times people have forgot to put their name, and that's kind of weird. Everest, can you go ahead and move one seat over for me, just to give everybody space?
Yeah.
And Isaiah, I'm going to have you facing the full front when you are taking your place, okay? And Isaiah, you have a quiz to hand back to them. And Everest, you got yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are 2 graphs and there are 2 solving. You guys can do this quiz in any order. Do this quiz in any order. Today's date is March 6th. Weeks. become an entry. Hold on.